Number 8. By 1983, muscle cars were basically on life support, but Chevrolet wasn't ready to pull the plug just yet. Chevy took their cushy Monte Carlo coupe and gave it a sharper nose, a stiffer suspension, and a smattering of SS badges to make it feel racier. Under the hood, though, things were a little modest. The SS came equipped with a 305 small block V8, breathing through a 4-barrel carburetor and pushing out 175 horsepower and 235 torque. Respectable compared to the sad early 80s landscape, but hardly the stuff of legend. The 0 to 60 time took around 8.2 seconds, which meant you could comfortably wave at pedestrians as you eventually built up speed. The 1983 model was the first year of the revived SS badge on the Monte, and Chevy paired it exclusively with a 3-speed automatic. So even if you had dreams of slamming gears like a race car driver, the car said, "Nah, let's just cruise, buddy." Number 7. When you hear Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, you probably imagine tire smoke, screaming eagles, and Burt Reynolds grinning under a cowboy hat. But by 1980, the party was winding down. That year's Trans Am Turbo was Pontiac's attempt to keep the muscle car spirit alive, while ducking under a growing pile of emissions regulations and gas crisis panic. Instead of the rumbling 400s and 455s of yesteryear, the 1980 Trans Am packed a 302 turbocharged V8. On paper, turbo sounds thrilling. In reality, it delivered just 210 horsepower and 345 torque, less a white-knuckle thrill ride and more a polite nudge forward. A 0 to 60 miles per hour time hovered around 9 seconds, which might have been impressive if you were racing a microwave. Pontiac tried to jazz it up with special badging, a turbo boost light on the dash, and the iconic screaming chicken, now even bigger and angrier on the hood. Basically, distraction tactics. Number 6. In 1985, Oldsmobile dusted off its legendary 442 badge, once feared on the drag strip, and slapped it onto the sleek, boxy Cutlass Supreme. The result? A car that looked like it meant business, until you floored it. The 85 Oldsmobile 442, which now stood for 4-speed automatic, 4-barrel carb, and 2 exhausts, came with a 307 V8. Sounds beefy, right? Well, it coughed up just 180 horsepower and 225 torque. It wasn't awful by mid-80s standards, but it certainly didn't have the savage bite the badge suggested. A 0 to 60 time took about 9.1 seconds, meaning you could ponder life's deeper mysteries between stoplights. Oldsmobile also treated the car to sharp two-tone paint jobs, gold 15-inch alloy wheels, and tasteful striping. So if you couldn't win the race, at least you'd win best dressed. Number 5. In 1982, Pontiac rolled out the all-new third-generation Firebird Trans Am, and it looked like it had just driven straight off the set of a sci-fi movie. Sleeker, lower, and meaner than ever before, the '82 Trans Am had pop-up headlights, futuristic styling, and enough black plastic to build a Darth Vader costume. It looked ready to roast tires and outrun spaceships, but sadly, the performance didn't quite live up to the hype. Under the hood, the most powerful option was a 5.0-liter V8 with crossfire injection. It managed a modest 165 horsepower and 240 torque, 0 to 60 miles per hour, a yawn-inducing 9.2 seconds. But here's the thing. The 1982 Trans Am felt fast thanks to its aerodynamic shape, ground-hugging stance, and a whisper of Knight Rider magic. It came with optional T-tops, nifty digital gauges, and handling that was surprisingly sharp for the time. Number 4. In 1986, Pontiac decided to get serious about NASCAR, or at least look serious, and unleashed the Grand Prix 2+2 Aero Coupe onto the streets. This rare bird was built purely for homologation purposes, meaning Pontiac needed to sell just enough of them to make their new slippery NASCAR design legal for racing. So, the 2+2 got a bubble-shaped rear window, a super-sloped nose, and a stubby little trunk that looked like it had been squashed in a hurry. It looked fast. But appearances can be deceiving. Under the hood sat a trusty but uninspiring 5-liter V8 paired to a 4-speed automatic. With just 165 horsepower and about 245 torque on tap, the Aerocoupe didn't so much blast off as it casually wandered toward the horizon. 0 to 60 miles per hour took a leisurely 10.2 seconds, perfect if you wanted to slowly make a dramatic entrance. What it did offer was serious NASCAR street cred, a unique look that screamed 80s cool and a fun what the heck is that vibe to everyone who saw one. Number 3. By 1980, AMC was the scrappy underdog of the American car world, throwing punches in every direction just to stay in the fight. One of their last swings at performance glory was the Spirit AMX 304. Dressed up with bold stripes, a hood scoop, and enough AMX badges to make you think it was a reincarnated Javelin, the Spirit AMX looked ready to party. Under the hood, though, things were a little less raucous. The big engine option, and by big we mean relatively, was the 5-liter V8, putting out a grand total of 125 horsepower and 220 torque. Yes, you heard that right, 125 horses. This meant 0 to 60 times somewhere in 10.6 seconds, giving the driver plenty of time to reflect on life, love, and questionable purchasing decisions. You could pair the 304 V8 with a 4-speed manual or a 3-speed automatic, but neither setup was exactly blistering. Number 2. By 1980, the Mustang had just transitioned to the Fox body platform, shedding the Mustang II's pudgy frame for something leaner, sharper, and a bit more athletic looking. Hopes were high, until you peeked under the hood of the 4.2-liter V8 version. This engine, a downsized version of Ford's classic 302, was built with one goal: survive the brutal emissions and fuel economy rules of the era. Performance was, well, not the priority. The 4.2 wheezed out a humble 119 horsepower and 194 torque, making 0 to 60 a patient exercise, around 11 seconds if you were lucky, had a tailwind, and skipped lunch. It was exclusively mated to a 3-speed automatic transmission, so any dreams of rowdy shifting and tire smoke were promptly crushed. Still, the Mustang had some redeeming features. It handled better than its 70s ancestors. It looked genuinely sporty. And it had that classic Mustang attitude, just without the urgency. Number 1. By 1980, the once feared Plymouth Roadrunner had morphed into something, well, a little less fearsome. Gone were the days of roaring 440s and quarter-mile dominance. Instead, the 1980 Roadrunner was based on the humble Volare, a compact, boxy sedan trying desperately to look cool with stripes, spoilers, and a bird decal clinging to its past glory. Under the hood, buyers got a few choices, but the performance option was the 5.2-liter V8, making a sleepy 120 horsepower and 245 torque. For most folks, their Roadrunner limped from 0 to 60 in just 12.6 seconds, giving you plenty of time to sip your coffee, adjust the AM radio, and wave at pedestrians passing you by. The 1980 model was the last gasp for the Roadrunner name before Plymouth quietly pulled the plug, realizing you can't just slap stickers on a grocery getter and call it a muscle car forever.